Waking up on morning at NTV. This is Stephen Mbide on Fefes Kampala Parent School here in Naguru. Of course, the country is awaiting the release of the PLE, Primary Leaving Examinations, that were sat in the year 2019. Of course, we know that over 695,000 candidates sat the examinations in the year 2019. On November 4th and 5th, candidates were sitting these examinations, but the country is awaiting, many are upbeat, waiting for the release and know whether they will be able to continue with going into secondary education, or they will be advised to sit again in this year 2020. But here at Kampala Parent School, of course, I have to inform you that from the other side of Logogo bypass, sloping towards this school, security is already tight. You have to go. Many people have been using this corridor as a bypass, continuing towards Naguru, but now security is advising them to use alternative routes, because we know that the First Lady, Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni, will be here. The Minister of Education and Sports, the UNEB officials will be handing over the results to her, and we will be asking the principal, Madame Daphne Kato, as the director or as the principal of the school, how were they able to host the release of these examinations? First of all, because we know many people were surprised to see the Minister of Education announcing that the results will be released from this school. Previously, it has been either Minister of Education and Sports headquarters, the President's office, and the Prime Minister's office. But for the first time, we are seeing the Minister of Education releasing or getting the results from a private school. Good morning, Madam Daphne.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. I'll hold for you this microphone.
Yes,
First of all, many people were surprised. Others were expressing concern that how can a Minister of Education receive examinations or results from a private school? How did you come to this agreement?
Yeah, this is the day that the Lord has made. Private secretary to the Minister to the First Lady, Minister of Education and Sports, came and approached me and told me, you know what, we've come, we want to use your venue where we'll release the results for 2019. So what I did, I shared with my proprietors, Dr. Sudiru Pariri and Mr. Rajiv. They did not hesitate. They gave it a go-ahead there and then. And one thing we should know, there wasn't even a single coin which was required from them. Before, even without the issue of the money, the facilities around. There isn't anything to do with the performance of the results which are to be released. It is only the facilities. I want to assure you, the facilities at Kampala Parent School speak by themselves. And that was the issue.
Maybe some people may think that going forward, won't this be contradict, or won't it be, won't it have issues of conflict of interest if the ministry has to go into private schools, yet it has public schools? How will it be if they have to maybe inspect private schools and then they find that they have to cooperate with you in such ways?
But private schools are under Ministry of Education and Sports, like the way the government schools are. So we are under them, and we follow the rules and regulation. So coming to a private school, to me, it is just showing the world, Uganda and the world at large, that private schools are also under Ministry of Education and Sports. We all have to comply. We do the teaching like the way the government schools do. So there isn't any problem with that.
Okay, let's go to the business today when UNEB is releasing the PLE examinations that were sat last year. Maybe we saw last year UNEB coming up with the coding system where it was giving the candidates numbers, 6 digits, to fill on the papers instead of their scores. What's your reaction to this? What would you make of this coding system?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I want to start by really saluting the UNEB officials and also Mr. Dong, the Executive Secretary, for what they came up with, this issue of the coding. You know what is happening? In any organization, you need to be so creative, so innovative, This is something new, and it is going to give us results. You know, in the past, the leakage, all this I know is coming in so that really there is integrity, there is leveled ground. And we really thank them, the UNEB, so much for what they came up with, and I know it is going to help us.
Okay, talking about the leakage, at least going by the press reports we saw in the Daily Monitor, there was a report that some candidates were saying, writing on the question papers, that the questions they were receiving were not the ones they expected. And previously we've seen many cases of examination leakages. How do you think this should be addressed? Because it also also a factor that retards the education system in our country.
Yeah, you know, what is happening in schools is really not good. In some schools, integrity is no longer there. Some of these teachers really don't do what we call teaching. They just bring in the issue of cram work. When you go to the children and you start to give them questions and you say, this is what is coming, this is what is coming. Our duty is to teach children with understanding. And the moment children are taught and they do understand what is taught, whichever question will come, there is no way they will be able to answer the question, and they will get marks. Problem, drilling children, cram work, that is what is happening. And you know, it is a bigger thing. You know, this issue of teaching, learning, the process, there are very many people involved. We have the children themselves, we have the parents, and then the administration as a whole. All of them come in to make sure they provide the best environment for the learners. The moment the environment is conducive, children will be able to make it.
Talking about also the environment of the learners, we know that the parents, stakeholders, but also the learners. We see in many of the examinations that results have been released before that UNEB says many of the candidates fail to answer questions that require logic, and many of them prefer answering those that are direct questions. And then English is also one of the subjects that is poorly performed. I just want to understand from you, how should this be addressed, in not only here as you, Kampala parents, but also across the country, especially those schools that are quote-unquote fat-rich areas. How can you encourage or help these learners to understand these questions that need logic and also perform better in English?
The issue of performance in English, you know, some people start learning it in P4. Others, P5, a child is not even able to construct a sentence. What happens? It is the way they are handled right from the grassroots. The moment a child enters the class, how are they developed? How are they taught? Right from nursery, the ministry has always emphasized the issue of having nursery schools in all schools. You know, this learning is gradual. You go on adding, you know, it is a gradual process. Nursery school, there is what they do, playing with some materials. That is where the logic starts. P1, they will add on what was taught in pre. P2, the same. It is a gradual process. If any class does not handle the teaching properly, then there will be a problem. So what we see in English, it means right from the beginning, the foundation was not well laid. That is why we're getting all these problems. Then in number 2, the library. The Ministry of Education has really tried to make sure there are books in schools. Some of the teachers don't give children the chance of reading library books. You know, you read a book, you make a summary, and that is what is happening here. You can visit our library, you will see we have all sorts of books. The reading. Children should have, as they sit to relax, a child should have a library book. You know, as you read, you're getting to know some of the words, you're getting to know the spellings, you're getting to know the meanings from those books which are taught, from those books which are provided. And then the most important thing, the teachers. How are the teachers handling themselves? You know, teachers are supposed to be role models. So if you don't teach the children, if you cheat children by not going to class throughout, if you cheat children by not going to class promptly, children will lose out. And that's why you are finding that subjects like English, where you have to teach, they will not understand it.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you. If you're just joining us here on Morning at NTV, Stephen Mbide is having a conversation with the principal of Kampala Parent School, Daphne Kato. And we're talking, of course, we're still awaiting the release of the PLE examination that are going to be handed over to the Minister of Education and Sports, Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni, by the UNEB officials here at these premises. But I also want to know, many pupils are able to enroll into school, but retention still remains a big challenge. At least going by the analysis that was done last year, 1.2 million pupils were not able to complete primary leaving examinations. Mm-hmm. They went into school, but when you see those, at least for the past 7 years, 1.2 million were not able to complete primary. And we see many girls either getting into early marriages, and also many of those are either taken to child labor. How should this be addressed so that those who are enrolled are also able to complete secondary and go to university?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think on those issues, there is a lot which we need to do. Right from the Ministry of Education, what I have realized, sensitization needs to be done. You know, some parents have not realized the values, the results of taking children to school. They do not know that when they take children to school, in the future they are the ones who are going to help them. Parents don't look at that. And then, of course, supervision in some schools. You know, where a child goes to school, there is no teacher, the teacher comes at 10, this child will end up losing interest. So the child will end up not even going. And then some others are here when it is time, like for the grasshoppers. Children will go to just have the grasshoppers. They will not go to schools. They will not mind. Fishing, they do go for the fishing. They want to get that quick money. I'm encouraging them. Let them be patient. Let them go to schools. Schools have been provided. The ministry has provided the schools. That is what they need. Let them study. What they need, they will get. Okay. And then these girls who are not able to complete, of course, there is a lot. The parents should know that whatever happens in a child, it is because of them. Okay. The values they are putting in their children. Fear of God. The issue of discipline, the issue of knowing what they are after, self-motivation, all those are very, very, very important issues. And then, if I can talk about also the teachers have a big role to play in this. You know, they should be role models to these children, to the girls also, to the girl child. A girl child who has a model of a mother, a teacher who is a mother, or even a male, they all grow saying, yeah, I also have to complete, okay, and I become like so and so. Right. You know, yes. Like
Madam Daphne Kato. Maybe very finally, you as Kampala parents, what is your expectations from these examinations?
Yes. Really, we want to thank the proprietors of this school. Dr. Sudhir Pereira, thank you very much. Our managing director, Mr. Rajiv, for the facilities. I wanted to assure you, whatever a child needs to learn, it is available here. So you need to first make sure the environment is conducive. And the moment the environment is conducive, then you expect the results. We expect very good results. And with the way we prepared the children, I told you, the parents are stakeholders, the management, the teachers, and even the children themselves. Okay. So all of us worked together to make sure we make it. And I'm sure we are going to come up with very good results.
I wish you all the best. That is Daphne Kato, the principal of Kampala Parent School down here in Naguru, where we are awaiting the release of the PLE examinations that were sat last year. And the Honorable Minister of Education and Sports will be receiving these results from UNEB. Stephen Mbide on Fefesu Echibuga Kumachia, Mbadde wano era nkuza mu studio. Romeo, take it over from me, brother.